Thomas.
Hello, guys. Hello, it's Lisa Thomas here. So, couple just really quick updates. We did put 3 shows out this week. We put part 1 and 2 of part 1 is Who is Lisa? That actually was out about a year and a half ago. We recorded part 2 last night, Who is the GHWC, where we talk about a lot of the things that we're doing within GHWC, what our initiatives are. So that was about a 35-minute video. It should be out by tomorrow, the next day. And then we also put out a show for blood clots with tons of solutions, because right now people are suffering greatly from blood clots. So, and then next week, I will have Michael Lane on with us live. He's going to be our press secretary and our GHWC Health and Wellness Liaison for all assemblies. So we'll be setting that up so everybody can connect with Michael. He's awesome, great guy, and he'll be on live with us next week. And that's all I have today. I have a very short update. So that's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Thomas. And now, before we actually put Kelly to work, we're going to hear from the Miss Kimberly Ann Goguen, who we affectionately refer to as Kim Possible. And I believe we're hearing from you in the role of the head of the Global Peace and Restoration Consortium right now. Is that accurate? Oh, we need to unmute Kim. We need to unmute Kim. If we can, please. Wait. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm asking to unmute her. Let me see what happened.
I just wanted to do sign language because I wanted it to be universal. Not leave anyone out, right?
Dance. We were going to
Yeah.
Figure it out.
So the Global Peace and Restoration Consortium of member states is in the same position currently in the Hall of Records and in the National Archives of every nation as the United Nations was. We spent about a year trying to negotiate with the United Nations, trying to get them on board. I spent hours myself personally on the diplomatic line with the United Nations, answering all their questions, probably about 2 or 3 times over the course of a year. So that's direct communication directly with me. And we just, they're always waiting for someone else to come in and do what they did in the past, right? I think for those of us that are a little bit older, we would all love to do the things we did in the past, right? But they're just not quite the same as they were before. It doesn't mean we can't do them, right? But anyway, so a decision was made to remove the United Nations as a registered sovereign several years ago. They became kind of just like a government entity for a while there, a couple of years. And then a few months back, we decided to just remove them from the Hall of Records permanently. Now, how can we do that? So we have a lot of new people listening, and I'll explain that in a little bit. How do we do that? Well, we control the Hall of Records. The back system controls the Hall of Records. And right now, as far as humans are concerned, I'm the only one at the Hall of Records. So we make the decisions based on the things that need to be done under the current circumstances and under natural law to protect the people. That's our job, okay? We also have relations with others in other places and all kinds of different things as well, which has been very welcome in some cases and not so much in others. But the Global Peace and Restoration Consortium of member states comprises of assemblies from all around the world. Now, that being said, the reason why we chose to form all of the assemblies, this is for a different, this might not be for all of you, you probably all know this. The reason why we chose to is because the governments are not participating either, okay? They're waiting for Rothschild, the Dragon families, one hung low in the Philippines, the second coming of Christ, Jermaine, yeah, like thousands of chosen ones and whatever else. I don't know. They're just waiting for anyone but us. Yeah. Probably because they've been told that by their bosses. Now, everybody has a controller, right? Let's not forget that. And we can lay that out one more time if you need to see it, because people are asking. So this is comprised of all of you. So if you are an officer of an assembly, a member of an assembly, then you are a member of the Global Peace and Restoration Consortium of member states. Last week, we went over that structure, so I won't repeat that. If you didn't catch it, then go back and watch it on unitednetwork.news, right? And you can catch that there. So the first annual meeting of the GPRC will be within the next 60 days. We wanted to give you plenty of notice because it's going to be a big one and it's going to be momentous, okay? And it involves all of you. So let's have time to prepare. This will be a virtual meeting. Unless the COVID people leave, it will be virtual for now. So we can't expect people to get on planes for 20 some odd hours and wear masks. That's not good. It's not healthy for anyone. We can't expect people to, even if we were paying for it, the circumstances are pretty bad with things you have to do to get out of your country today, right?
Right.
Times we thought we'd never see. So we're planning on sometime, probably the beginning of March is the thought. Now, each division will be putting forth global initiatives. So these are issues that you want to bring forward that affects everybody globally, okay? Things you need to stop, things you want to start, things you want to eradicate, and what will take its place. It's important to look at it from that perspective. So we'll be leaning on, got a tickle in my throat, all of the assemblies to come forward with their initiatives as well. But like I said, just keep it focused on global issues when you're approaching every single nation all at the same time. So that's going to be one huge meeting, and we're very much looking forward to it. I know that the Global Health and Wellness Group has several initiatives on the table already. And you have global health and wellness representatives within your assembly. You should be looking to bring those forward. We'll be introducing you next week to Michael Lane, and he'll be your liaison. He'll be taking all those initiatives in as it relates to health and wellness specifically. We have the PGSD. We have the GIA, right? I'm the director of the GIA. I don't plan on stepping down anytime soon. I have another hat there too. Tank is the deputy director. And then every nation eventually, and some already do, have a deputy director of X country. Like we have one for the US, we have one for Iraq, we have one for Russia, we have one for the United Kingdom. So we have several of them already in place, and they're, handling issues in their respective areas, reporting in sit rep reports constantly, and they're doing a really great job from eyes on the ground. There's a lot of rumors going around nowadays about, this is going to blow up, this person's going to be this is going to be a coup. There's protests going on in Kazakhstan, and, everything's kind of a little bit crazy right now. So it's important that we refer to these people on the ground to tell us what's really going on, so we can make decisions on our end of it. So I just wanted to announce that real quick before we brought Kelly in to give his update. So I very much look forward to seeing all of you at the Global Peace and Restoration Consortium of Member States first annual meeting. So this is going to be like a general assembly type format, but without all of the bribes and the overpriced items and the
surveillance
and surveillance and the really ugly building in New York.
Which no windows. It's ridiculous.
We hope to replace someday, but yeah, it's awful. It's ugly. So that's what we're going to do. I'm sure we'll have surveillance because we'll be online for this one here, but I just didn't think it was worth the risk unless something changes, in which case then, if we can find a way to get everybody here comfortably, then maybe we'll do that. Maybe it won't be here. Maybe it'll be in another country. Who knows? So with that, Kelly, and then we'll get into my update a little later.
Let's see here.
There
I don't
he
know how to
is. Hang
spotlight
on.
Kelly right now because I don't have control. What do I do here? there we go. Great. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Kim. I'm looking forward to that. Kim brings up a very important point. Let's keep that video back on. She said, when it comes to putting forth the global initiatives, as you're doing your needs assessment, this is where scope comes in. And your assembly liaisons are putting together regional meetings where we're going to be doing trainings for not only needs assessment, we'll be doing training also on orders. So reach out to your liaisons about that. I wanted to thank the fantastic job all the liaisons are doing and our assembly relations team, especially our assembly relations director. We've been chewing through the ratification packages. Hopefully you're getting responses from Jory, letting you know it's perfect or letting you know what needs to be fixed so we can keep moving forward. What's going to happen as we're moving through that, we're also going to be setting up assemblies that have passed that milestone. We're going to be setting up your accounts on Band Together so that your content from your press releases, all of these things have a place that we can then move them to wherever UNN is going to be displaying it. Wasn't really clear at the beginning. I know we'll find out. We also are moving assembly orientation meetings over to assembly liaisons. And we have regional and area liaisons, so you can find all of them on the About page on the PGSD website. You can also find the links to all of our Telegram channels there. So you shouldn't have any trouble finding the information you need. When it comes to information, again, you're responsible for the safety, security, and health of your assembly. Pay attention to where you're getting your information. Use the information we make available on the PGSD website and speak to your liaison. We have spent a lot of time on training. I have 100% confidence in all of my people, and you're going to have 100% confidence that you should have that you're getting all the right information. It's going to help you move quickly because we are at such a critical time that wasting time, being sidetracked with wrong information, we don't have time for it. So please pay attention to what we're putting out. We're there to help you. We're giving you guidelines to help us be in line for these momentous things that are happening right now, in particular, what's going on with the GPRC. It's very exciting. Finally, on the press conferences, your liaisons are going to be reaching out and giving you the outline on how to put together your press conference. And we're just about to do ours. We've seen a couple that have already been done. And thank you, Kim, for giving the outline of that because it made it much easier to understand. Everyone was initially thinking, well, we don't have a studio. We don't have any place to produce this. No. This is you talking directly to the people. And this is part of the entire transparency that assemblies and all of us are responsible for. The more transparent we are, the less confusion, less opportunity for corruption is really, really important. And I wanted to say thank you to all the assemblies who made the changes in their bylaws, their structures to bring them into accordance with the Declaration of Independence, the Declaration of One Accord, and the Resolution of One Accord. It's fantastic what's been happening over this last couple of weeks, and last week's meeting and the Live at Fives lately have really made a big difference. I also want to thank Colin McClive. He is going to be assisting us with orders, training, the orders and need assessment profile that he put together. We're going over it today. Fantastic. So you can look forward to that. And we'll try and trick Colin into doing a video for us as well. He practiced a lot to be on camera. He's pretty good. So anyways, that is my update. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Kim.
All right. Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, I got to say thanks to Colin for doing such a great job. He's been helping the Empire State Assembly. As you know, New York is burning, so it's a little crazy there. So I really appreciate him helping with some of that work.
Did they vote today?
I haven't got the results yet. I'm waiting to find out.
I haven't heard either.
From what I understand, they're trying to vote in the Holocaust in New York. It's pretty horrifying.
Well, the Holocaust is not just for Jewish people anymore.
No, it's for everybody.
It's for everyone.
Yeah, you can participate. Yeah.
Yep, everyone can participate. Yeah.
Right. All right. So this week has been pretty incredible for you to make this big jump. You were talking about the new year. So what's the status?
You got a lot of status going on. It's very, very interesting week. Okay, so just to clean up a couple little things. So we did do some revisions to the UNN app over the last week. So you'll see on there, there's different regions now, and that includes your press conferences, your assembly news, you remember you're reporting on behalf of the government for your respective state. So try to be stately. Not like I'm always stately either, but just saying. And and you're really trying to put messages out to the people, what's going on in your area, what we're doing to correct it, how we're handling things, just try to be as professional as possible. We need to get the respect of these people, right? All the people in your state or nation.
Make it believable what you're saying.
Well, be honest and truthful.
That's what I'm saying.
Something we would never see
yourself
from another head of state, right?
Well, yeah, and
So-
present yourself in such a way that you're actually concerned about the well-being of where you're from, whereas not the charade that goes on in most politics.
Right. The other thing I wanted to point out too, and this is just a little bit of house cleaning, and I'm getting a lot of people approaching me with like different rumors of things that are going on, or they're unhappy with certain team members, or I've had probably at least 15 people text me about the head of the Global Health and Wellness Consortium, Lisa, saying that she's going to be fired and there's this black magic or a psyop or something. But I do appreciate you coming, the people that did come to Lisa directly and ask her what was going on. So that was very sovereign of you. So thank you very much for those of you that did that. Kind of dispel that rumor. No, none of that is true. She's doing a great job. She's working countless hours, and I appreciate everything she does. I have not seen anything regarding black magic or anything kind of crazy like that. And we've looked and we've checked. So as far as I'm concerned, she's doing a great job as the chairperson of the Global Health and Wellness Consortium. I can't really go through all of the rumors that I hear all the time, but rest assured, we are a tight-knit team. We work with Kelly, we work with Colin. Tank and I are always talking. Lane is always here. I think she had something to do this afternoon. She doesn't have an update, but we are working through, we are only one person each, right? And we work as hard as we can possibly work until we fall down, and then that's the end of the day, right? Or fall asleep. I call it hitting something soft. The second I hit on the sofa or whatever, it's just, after about 20 hours. So, okay, next. There's a lot of updates. I'm going to try to keep it short. So we were talking about, the militaries and the SSP, and we'll see what they do. We'll see what happens, right? So it was just last Sunday that the SSP finally ran out of options. And so minus a few more people, it appears that they are now going to work on the restoration plan. They have sent down orders down the trail. So some people, depending on where you are and what we call the food chain, right? Where you are, most of those orders have been received now, all the way down to the militaries of the world. So we've gotten calls from a few different countries, including the United States, about moving forward and trying to negotiate deals. Sometimes they're wanting a partnership of some sort, and sometimes they're wanting ownership of me in some cases. And we're getting there, we're working through it. I have people arriving here in a couple of hours, as I understand it, about 4 hours. So hopefully those meetings will go well. And then we'll be discussing that with all of you from wherever you're from, each respective nation as they come forward. I know that Fiji's military has already decided to work together with the assembly there. That's a big win for the Fiji assembly. Congratulations. They have agreed to protect the people and the nation, which is amazing. Formerly, I guess there was a lot of interference from external nations. It seems like everybody's interfering in everybody else's issues, but no one reflects on their own national security issues. Like we discussed last week, we have a lot of them, not only in the United States, but in every single country. There are people that are starving in every single country. Nowhere is excluded. Maybe Liechtenstein, maybe we can leave them out. But everybody else, has issues. We have homeless people. We have all kinds of issues with what's going on with this, governments making decisions about how you're going to handle your health situation, trying to vaccinate you for something you already have antibodies for, if you've already had it. I mean, it's a little bit crazy. So anyway, a lot of work to be done on that aspect, a lot of national security issues to discuss, actual ones. We're going to get away from military theater, which is where the same guy has got Army men Russia on this side, or Ukraine, or insert China or whatever here, and then Army man US on this side, and he goes like this, right? He tells each one what to do in order to create the theater. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, we have millions of people, our soldiers, right, that are dying. They're getting their limbs blown off. I know one of the initiatives this year that I'm really excited about with the Global Health and Wellness Consortium is 3D printing of limbs and organs. So that's happening right now, currently, has been for at least 10 years in many different countries around the world. So you might not have heard of it. You might not be aware of it because everybody's afraid the World Health Organization is going to come, tear them apart, or some Gates people or something like that is going to tear them apart. Well, that's no longer the case, and it's going to be available to every member of the military. It'll be every member in your community. We're going to try to focus on getting the best equipment and really putting that initiative forward, because I think it's really important. Okay. Yeah. One of the other issues that have been discussed as an example is removing opioids as an option as a painkiller, whether synthetic, such as fentanyl, or otherwise. More people have died in the last year of an opioid addiction or complications from opioids than have of COVID. Okay, even according to the numbers that the mainstream media is putting out, right?
Yep. The Wiz says that COVID or that opioids are the real pandemic. That's what he says. Yeah.
Well, they are. It's a very serious issue. It's killing a lot of our children. It's killing a lot of our adults. And it's, people think of opioids as well, they've got the junkies wherever, but it's not that way anymore. I mean, there are white collar people, there are doctors, there are nurses, there are people that had a surgery that can't find their way off of it, and they're having to come up with alternative therapies where they can still function, right?
Right.
People know about methadone, and then there's Suboxone. There's a number of other ones out there just to try to wean people off of it, because it does cause such damage. And if your health is already compromised and you have to get off of it, then you're going to cause even more damage to your body. Now, people think of opioid addiction as, well, they probably overdosed, right? That's not the case, especially with the advent of some things like fentanyl, because fentanyl is a very fast-acting, fast-leaving opioid, whereas like Oxycontin would be slow and over the course of time. Well, what happens is the second that leaves your body, within hours, you're what's called dope sick. And so you're throwing up, you're having all this nerve pain, your body is completely attacking you basically from the inside out until you get your next fix. So over time, being dope sick constantly destroys your body. That's another way that drug addicts die. So things to think about as you're going forward with doing your initiatives. But I feel that this is one of the most important things that we could focus on as well as our general health and wellness. And of course, there's the obvious issues, right? So, but, like you said, Tank, I mean, the actual pandemics here, more people are dying of all of these things than they are of the reason why we're running around with masks on and, so on and so forth. So anyway, just food for thought, things to think about. It's coming up. Joe Rogan did a show on it. A number of people have talked about it as well. I took the time to kind of familiarize myself a little bit with it, and what it does and how it acts and what is really going on. So anyway, something to think about for your assemblies, as we go into this global initiative, how we would do this in your area. They are researching alternative, more effective pain management that would not be addictive and would not cause bodily harm. There's a few options on the table right now. So if you have anything to throw in the hat there, then that would be most welcome. We're looking at post surgeries, anesthesias, all of these types of things. Okay, so now moving on. So this should be an exciting weekend, at least for me, and hopefully we'll have some good news to share over the next coming days. All right, so let's go back to what happened this week. So as the Space Force, I guess you would say, decided to potentially work on the restoration plan, the Treaty of Versailles, an old treaty, came into view. And I just wanted to point out the fact that we have that, right? This was about the 30th of December, as all this stuff was going on. So I think I might have touched on that a little bit last week. So the treaty, all treaties are bonds. All bonds are instruments. All instruments were cashable by the trust underneath my predecessor. So that was why every single time that there was a war, which was always, right, money would come out. So every year on January 1st, global martial law would be declared for 20 minutes and money would come out automatically through the AVILP4 system. Now, I think the Space Force and these other folks thought that this was an alien race or someone, maybe Satan himself made the deposit. I'm not sure, but it's
anybody but
that's
you.
me. That's me that did not push the buttons, right? I just want to make that real clear. I have communicated with the Pentagon through the AVILP4 system several times. I've sent funding through there. There was a contract a couple of years ago. We were working with American Express. The Pentagon said American Express would work together with them. There was also talk of paying some contractors that were working for the military, doing, building and planes and whatnot. And we had sent money out from there to accounts at Bank of America and Bank of New York Mellon at the time. And that was me. So it was me that answers the phone. It's me that dials. It's me. Okay. So the reason why I'm the one that answers the phone is because I'm the one that has the back system, which holds the treaty or the bond, or essentially you're all kind of collateral at this moment. We need to fix that. I agree with you, right? I agree with everyone. But remember, because this is another thing people are talking about too, they always had a boss. So even the regular military here in the States waited for a call from the Space Force, who waited for a call from the SSP, who waited for calls to come out of Cheyenne, and so on and so forth. Other thing I wanted to address too. So we'll see how this weekend goes, and we'll report back to you and let you know how we do. As it relates to Trump's press conference, it's supposed to be today. He had scheduled a big announcement and so on and so forth. Again, we are 3 days away from the full moon. The new moon. Okay. This is a repeated thing. I want you to understand that. So every time there's going to be a big, press conference or whatnot, he thinks he's going to end up back in office basically due to some alien race coming to save the world or something, or give them help or do something. I don't know. So they always set it for 3 days before, 3 days after a new moon, 3 days before, 3 days after a full moon. And you'll find that the next press conference is exactly going to be 3 days after the next full moon, which is at the end of this month, which probably won't happen either. So I'm not saying I like the guy, don't like the guy, whatever. I know a lot of people do, and they believe in him, but I'm pointing out facts here that you can check and you can verify. This was a public press conference. It shows publicly that he canceled it, and it happened to be scheduled months ago for right after the full moon, or a new moon. Sorry, keep mixing those two up. Okay. Let's see, what else did we have here that we can actually, some of the stuff that we make notes of, you probably wouldn't understand. It's a lot of there's astral influences. Wells Fargo has something called the Troy system, which is a backdoor system, OXS malware. It's just a bunch of kind of computer terms as we're working our way through the banking system. Most of the time, a lot of this stuff comes from the same place. Let's see, we had Paragon Forces at Tidal Point. affecting nodes on Earth, monoclonal issues in the aura. I mean, these are, okay, let's see. Machine, New Year's Eve. Machine was found in London, which was being utilized, I think this is the one that was in London, which was being utilized to contact another race to gain assistance. It hadn't worked in a few weeks since the last encounter that the same people had with in Antarctica. Okay, so that machine does not contact anyone anymore because the people that were involved with that, or the other folks on the other end of the phone, did not answer. So they're still sitting there trying to get it to work. It's not working because nobody's home and everybody's moved on, and there are trade agreements in place. And, you know, I was there, I know all about the trade agreements, and they were told the correct information. This would be a king from someplace else. So that was handled. Let's see. Restoration plan. Yeah, we did go through some topsy-turvy because of the issue that didn't happen on New Year's Eve. New Year's Day on January 1st after midnight for 20 minutes, no martial law. So the military had a bunch of meetings, the SSP did. Before this, there were, you know, three kind of top guys all talking. Two were for, one was against. There was all kinds of other things they tried as well, firing up some old technologies that they had left over, trying to mimic my DNA was in one particular case. And this was just all this week, right?
Wow.
Okay, so let's see. By the 2nd, that's when everything kind of came down, which was Sunday. They started talking about DNA scrambler. So that was funny. That was on the 2nd. So that's when they started having conversations about midday on Sunday. They finally gave the order, Eastern Standard Time, to go ahead and call her. That's it. We got nothing left to do.
That's it? Told on?
Yeah, I mean, there's some back chatter going on that I'm listening to about, you know, we'll let her, you know, they look at me like I'm Miss Universe, right?
We all do.
I want world peace,
Yeah.
you know, kind of thing, you know. It's like,
Wow.
so they're like, well, we'll let her go do her little thing over there, and we'll just do the man stuff over here, you know. So we'll split the funds, and we're going to do the man stuff over here, and she's going to go do the Miss Universe stuff over here, right? I don't have a tiara. I do, but you know, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I should have put it on. I should have got one, you know, for this meeting. Yeah, I'm not Miss Universe by any stretch of the imagination, boys and girls, and you'll learn that if you come here this weekend, right? If you're on the way anyway. So we'll see. Let's see. What else is going on? What else happened this week? Okay. So also on January 2nd, the message came through, get ready for the wave. So it's like, what's the wave, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, this would be an immersion, kind of like a cleansing, an energetic cleansing of the planet, which did take place, but it didn't take place without backlash. So we had a little bit of push and pull this week too. Probably wasn't just the hangover that you were looking at by that time. Yeah. So, but the interesting part is that we actually got something really interesting after everything subsided, which didn't subside until very early morning on the 3rd, which was we got the governance, I should say, or management of the energy.
Wow.
So, yeah. So some of what we were waiting for to expire was we talked about the stay of execution, right? So the deal they had with the Abraxas, they had the stay of execution for 3 years. Officially, it's over. And so that's why everything started recalibrating. And now we have a whole new section of the system that I get to learn. So been kind of going in and out of it. There are a few contracts we need to cancel, and I've been working on those today. One of them is for the cellular degeneration and the management of humans. We did do some frequency work in the recent past. We talked about on a previous Life Force call. We didn't realize that there's an actual contract for this.
So that's the aging contract you're talking about that causes us to prematurely age, correct? Like
yeah, your shelf life, the shelf life of the vessel, so they can then put you through the soul regenerator, not regenerator, but the soul recycler. That's the word I'm looking for. Right. Recycler. Yeah. So you can go back around again, get in a new vessel and do the thing again, because they only want so many humans on the planet. Obviously, this isn't really working out for them. And this, hopefully, when this change happens, we'll start to see some differences. But I think that's why they had the opinion that if they could get the certificate of vaccination identification systems rolling, that they would be able to keep that contract or manage the, I know they worked for the last few years very heavily on that, right? They had to be in control by the 2019 General Assembly of the United Nations, or they were going to release a virus on the world, told to my face. So, and what happened? Guess they aren't in control.
So they released the virus.
So they released a virus, right, on the entire world. This was absolutely a biochemical weapon. No one's even looking for that. People I've talked to are talking. Oh, that was the other thing. That was funny. They asked as we're coming into this meeting if I had been vaccinated.
What? Really?
No. No.
Wow.
And I said, but don't worry, I will stay 6 feet apart away from you because you have been. I won't be shaking your hand. I won't be sitting next to you. We're not going to be sharing glasses or anything like that. So not to worry there. I do that anyway in meetings, people I don't know, especially people that have tried to poison me at least 3 times. Okay. Now, so on the 3rd, we thought we were finally there because of all the recalibrations. They said there shouldn't be any issues. We did find a few more. There were some issues with an old connection to, I think it's called Candor Company out of Utah, who was manufacturing or printing motherboards on behalf of, well, I should say on behalf of the banking system, IBM, and a number of different places. But they also had a software called Spring in there tied to the banking system, which eventually led us back to the Templars in the United Kingdom. So we did find a monitoring machine there. Just a day prior to that, it was Microsoft Systems out of Netherlands. Microsoft Systems out of Netherlands. We had just gotten rid of the day before, and then pops this, right? So they had Cisco involved, Microsoft, IBM, all out of, I think it's Amsterdam, out of the Netherlands, trying to revive their certificate of vaccination identification system. So
they tried to fast track, basically, to remake the Azure system type of thing?
Yes, to try to remake what Microsoft Azure was doing. Yeah. So just different location, all hands on deck, giving it one hell of a go on the 2nd because it was the new moon.
Ah, right.
Everything goes new moon, full moon, solstice, equinoxes, pagan holidays. I don't know, Satan's birthday is probably a big one. I'm not sure, but this is what they do. Okay. So let's see, what else do we have here? We did kind of confirm this was 48 hours after the order had gone out, right? That they fired up the system. So now I'm questioning, is the Space Force for real or not? SSP? Well, because Gates, them, both Black Sun, same organization, right?
And the secret Space Force, Kim, because you referred to it also as the global Space Force. That's the same thing, right?
Yes, that's the Global Space
Okay.
Force. So the SSP in Russia is the same as the SSP in America, which is the same as the SSP in the UK. It's no different anywhere in the world.
Got it.
This is the top brass, right, of planet Earth. Everybody takes orders from them. A few years ago, it was Norfolk Systems. Currently, everybody's in Cheyenne having a meeting. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm hopeful. I will listen, I will explain, we will go through procedures, see what we can do, why certain things work and why I think certain things won't work. And maybe somebody convinced me otherwise that it will work. I mean, who knows, right? I'm not God in any way, shape, or form. So always ready to listen to anybody who's willing to try and talk and not kill us all. So
I think that by itself is a big win. If they
that
would
would
just
be a
stop trying to
win-win
kill
for
us all.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey. Yeah.
Well, you know, yeah, that'd be nice. I could get my freedom back, right? We could get these people on board, all the militaries and agencies. At least I could just go anywhere I wanted without having to look over my shoulder. That would be a new one for me. This has been going on for a really long time now. So been running around like Laura Croft meets Mata Hari, and I'm really getting tired. So
Did you factor that in when you talk to them when you do this weekend, you probably factor that in, right? To say that
Oh,
you cannot try to replicate my DNA, right? That is a big one. Because like now all of a sudden you get to travel.
Putin already did this. I don't know if you know that. Putin did this in 2015. He had the whole bloodletting thing going on in Germany.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he made a Kim, like a Kim clone kind of thing?
No. He I don't know, some kind of new system. They drain his blood, they put my blood in, changes the DNA or something.
Wow. That's
Yep.
fascinating. Okay.
He did do that at the end of 2015 when his card didn't work in the system.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's clever. That's a good try. Wow.
Yep. So I do feel that we're kind of back in 2014, 2015, though. You know, we're back on the Ukraine thing and the Russian thing, and we're doing the same exact thing. I can't remember. There was something else that happened this week too that reminded me of 2014 repeated again.
2012 is when they were supposed to bring all this in. Once we got past that date, everything changed, right? So it's kind of makes sense. It's like they just realized none of that was real.
Well, yeah. All right. So what else happened this week? Okay. We had some more interference from outside sources being called in by the Templar machine. They also have a little, like a crystal ball looking thing, kind of a little larger. And they were communicating with in the Pleiades star system. And they were convincing the Pleiadians were telling them that they were the chosen ones and they were the ones of light and they were the blood of Jesus and, Jesus number 78 group of Jesuses. So there might be more than 78.
78
and yeah. Well, there's an old thing with the Templars where they believe, I think it's Theoclete or something like that, was the reincarnation of Jesus. And then they formed this whole organization thinking that they were the chosen ones. Anyway, irrespective of that, that machine doesn't work anymore. Nobody's answering the phone on the other end. It was a violation of an agreement that was already made earlier in the year. So that's the end of that.
This is the red-faced queen?
Yeah.
That's the same one? Wow, she is really troublesome.
Very persistent.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Yep. She doesn't like me. I don't like her. It just works out. But agreement, a council ruling is a council ruling. You adhere to it or there's consequences. So the enforcer was called in a couple times this week with some recalcitrant groups that were promised the ownership of Earth and all of humanity. That also happened prior to January, prior to Sunday. So prior to the 2nd. They had made some agreement with the Space Force several months back, and they were coming to claim their prize, and there was no prize. There is no planet. There was a little bit of an argument that went on with the council, and then we figured out what it is that they wanted. And some trade agreements were made. Everybody's happy, and now they're moving on to collect their brand new technology so they don't have to use plutonium as fuel anymore. Wow. So that's good. Yep. They'll benefit. Everybody benefits. Okay, in the world, now let's get down into our world, right? Mr. Black, we talked about Mr. Black, right? The half Chinese, half Italian guy that became Mr. Black for a very short period of time. Well, apparently he did not succeed in his mission. I do not know if he is still alive or not, but he is inactive in the world of the Mr. Blacks. So in comes Colonel Klink.
Really?
It's not Klaus Schwab, but his name is Klaus. I'll just leave it at that. And Colonel Klink thought he was going to connect to a system that the CIA already tried to connect to a few months ago up in Bern. We talked about that, right? Mm-hmm. And he was going to reinstall or somehow, I think, connect this Netherlands system to this system in Bern that doesn't exist anymore and recreate the social credit system known as the Certificate of Vaccination Identification System. I'm going to keep repeating it so that anybody new that's watching understands what it is. So you get this thing, it gets put into you. They can now tell by what you eat, what you drink, you know, where you go, who your friends are, whether or not you're worthy to hold a currency, whatever that would end up being. They could actually lock you out from having a job instantly. They could lock you out from riding on public transportation. They could have you drop dead at any given moment in time based on their control over the nanobots within your system. So that is why, General, whatever your name is, I did not take the vaccine. So, okay. I figure I got about a 0.06 chance of contracting COVID, right?
Less.
About a 0.06-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really low.
Yeah. And then I've got probably a 70% chance of side effects, right? 75 to 78% chance of having some kind of side effects. I would rather take my 0.04 and run, right? Or 0.06 and run. So I'm doing that. Okay. So
100% chance of no side effects if you don't take it. So that's
yeah. And only a 0.06% chance of getting, I won't call it coronavirus of some sort. Yeah. All 4,789 strands. Okay. Let's see. Oh, today is the 666th day of the COVID pandemic.
Oh no, really? Wow. Yes. I'm glad we're having a light force call today. That could be dangerous.
Yeah, actually it was supposed to be. Funny enough, it was also the day of Trump's press conference, wasn't it?
Huh. That's odd.
I know, isn't that odd?
Like he's part of it or something. So weird.
You would think so. You would think he's probably part of it or something.
Yeah, it seems like amazing timing. Yeah.
Today's the day they win for the 666 people, right?
Right. And the Fuhrer steps into place. That's what they thought was going to happen. Wow.
Which is why I told them I wasn't available until after Wednesday.
Because they were going to capture you so they could bring out the...
I don't know what they were going to do, but it wasn't going to happen on 666 day. I can tell you that right now.
No chance. Yeah, smart move.
Yep. There have been some energetic attacks going around. Today is a good day to die. You need to die, this kind of thing. I've heard a lot of reports of that for the people that are very spiritually in tuned and open. You're getting kind of crazy messages coming through that is not sourced in any way, shape, or form. That is probably some group using well, the Templars are very adept at this also personally. I don't know if you know that. They're very well trained, and the higher level Freemasons are as well at telepathic communications.
Yep. So
this could be coming from them. They could be a little bit angry about what happened the day before or the day before that, right? Okay. Yep. So the cellular regeneration issue is, the name of it is actually apoptosis, which is your cellular degeneration. You're familiar with that?
Cell death. Yeah. Wow. So you stopped apoptosis?
I am working on getting rid of the Hall of Records order that accepted that for humans on our behalf a long time ago. Mm-hmm.
So that's really interesting. So that's usually taught as something that has to happen in the body. like every 3 years, the program cell death to regenerate new cells. But with this, potentially, at least what you know now, this means that the cells would maintain their natural health and vitality without apoptosis. That's pretty amazing, actually.
That's what it says. So I'm going to look forward. I look forward to looking more into it over the next couple of days and seeing exactly what has taken place and how we got there. We're still going to have environmental issues. Can't do anything about heavy metals in the air, in the water. You know, we are working on those things. Perhaps our water security and food security should be on your list of global initiatives as well. I know it'll be on the GIAs. Very concerned with water safety. You should not turn on your tap and set your stream of water on fire in the United States. Your water should be clear if you do have running water at all where you are, right?
Yeah.
That's also another issue. So I think that clean water would affect every single country on earth. I have not, been to, there's certain areas where people have wells in certain places, and even in the US and different kinds of plumbing than we have in most of the world, but water security is a really big issue. So hopefully we can redesign a sewage system that works, unlike the one we have now. Even in the one in the United States is very antiquated. It gets clogged all the time. If you go to YouTube, you can actually Google the fact that the methane gas is so bad in New York City that the manhole covers blow. You ever seen that?
Yeah, I'm actually in New York. A lot of the homeless population uses those as heaters when it gets really, really cold in New York. They'll kind of camp out on top of those as the methane gas comes up, and it's quite warm and smells terrible.
Yeah, there's hundreds of videos on there of people recording this event.
Yeah, it's
so
terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And we're not a third world country. We're becoming one. Thank you. What is it called? Go Brandon. Everybody's saying that now. So, it's a mess.
Yeah.
There's so many matters of national security, I can tell you, that are issues without even leaving anyone's country. So that is a matter of national security. Your water supply, if someone comes in with a biological weapon and infects your water supply, you're done. Your whole population is done. It has been done. They spent a hell of a lot of time in the 70s and 80s putting in remotely detonated biological weapons into the water supply of damn near every country on earth. So if you have running water in a sewer system, you have a problem. That is a fact. So you need to find that. You need to remove it. That is one thing that's very, very important for you to do. So we have a lot of work to do. The colony has been very helpful in the last week. I thank them very much. They are watching and monitoring everything here as quickly and handling issues as quickly as they can. That's kind of where we're at right now as far as like intel and news. And I think we've had a pretty momentous week, pretty good start to this year. I very much look forward to seeing all the initiatives. We will be having meetings in a kind of a standard format where, towards the end, every nation will speak. Then we'll talk about global initiatives prior to that. There'll be, if you have a sergeant at arms or member of security, you'll be attending the International and National Security Issue Council. I expect to see everybody there, so that'll be kind of amazing. We very much look forward to getting this planet turning in the right direction with all of you. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Just got to change the world. What we've been doing.
Yeah, just got to change the world, right?
No big deal. Just another day at the office. And probably between now and then, over the next 60 days, just stay tuned for different kinds of announcements. We'll probably start to have breakout sessions in all likelihood, where people who have different ideas or they want to work in specialty areas like child and family restoration, or specifically with GIA and security and community protection units, things of that nature, or any specific niche where you want to come together with other groups and kind of share best practices before this meeting, which is very serious. So we want to make sure that people have a chance to present these amazing ideas after they've come together and work together, because that's the goal of everything we're doing.
I did want to add one more thing though, because I think this is important. So we had the Bank of England last week, right? That was going around telling everybody they had quadrillions and that they were going to do fund everyone if you do this, right? There's a coup going on here. There's this going on there. Then when everybody got, most people, not everybody, got the memo, okay? That did not happen. That was not going to happen. So, and I'll tell you why not everybody got the memo here in a second. Now, then it flipped to the ECB. Then the report went out about the ECB, European Central Bank, that does not also have the money to achieve this task, okay? And this left the people that were perpetuating the lie, the real virus. It's called Bullshirona. Okay?
Bullshirona, that sounds
Bullshirona
familiar.
is the virus that is really affecting the entire world. Well, it really is, okay? So let's talk about, just for a second, about the USSR former states. So there's a big talk right now going all over the media about this USSR, you know, Russia wants to reinstate this. They don't call it the empire anymore. They used to call it the Russian Empire, that Putin was going to reinstate the Russian Empire. Now they're talking about reinstating the USSR. Well, let me give you a little news flash for the people that need to know this. And I know you're listening, okay? The USSR never ended. Wow, what a concept, right? You gave the illusion to former USSR states that they are former USSR states. But in reality, all they did was just break up an empire, right? USSR was an empire, was a Russian Empire prior, different territories. And then they installed communism so that people would forget about God and the Tsar, right? And the Orthodox, you know, rule over, right? God ruled the country and this and that, right? Had to take God out of the country. If you're the black sun, can't have that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's going on now in Ukraine and Kazakhstan is the same thing, okay? This is a show. This is not real. When the USSR split up, the KGB generals control every USSR former state. They'll tell you if you can be a head of state, if you're not going to be a head of state, and 99% of them are ex-KGB. The president of Ukraine is no exception. Not the last one, not this one, and not the one before that. He is KGB, okay? Don't think any different. The coup in Kazakhstan, all we're doing is replacing one dude with another dude to make some people happy because they think they're getting away from Russia, and they're really not, because Russia and China signed a pact this week, right? This is the reality. This is a show. It is a joke. If you think you're going to defend the Ukraine from the Russians, all you're doing is talking to the Russians about the Russians and the Russians on the Russians. That's it.
Right.
Maybe they're not Russians anymore,
But
but
the Russians.
that's how all of Eastern Europe works. Most of it, the exception of maybe like Albania and a few other places. So it's a joke. Okay, so remember last week, the Rothschild Dragon family people, right, came up with the plan of the Bank of England, then the ECB. Now, the reason why Kazakhstan didn't get the memo is because the KGB didn't want to mess up their little program they got going on there. Yeah. So this section, remember we used to talk about, there's 3 sections of Langley. You got Farm 41, which are the bushwhackers, and then you had the Reaganites, and then you got the, you know, the Rothschildians, the ones that follow the Rothschilds, and the Black Sun people, but they pretty much all work for the Black Sun. It doesn't matter, but they think they're different, right? Compartmentalization is the reason why we actually have states as well. So that being said, the KGB has the same thing. They're just working for Rothschild because they promised to pay them. Now, for those of you that don't know, there was a deal that happened back in the 90s where there was a hold and a freeze on the amount of diamonds Russia could sell, and that was with De Beers. So they could sell black market rough diamonds. That's also how rough diamonds became one of the most valuable assets in the underworld of trading, like with mafia organizations and whatnot, right? Because they couldn't actually sell them. That contract expired a few years back. There was a stay of execution, right? Now it's definitely gone. But these KGB agents, some of these guys have had these diamonds for years and years and years. And in order to get the De Beers contract, they promised them they were going to pay them some ridiculous amount per carat, like where you would pay a couple $100 per carat. They begin like a couple $1,000s per carat. And no one's ever paid them before. Now, this came from the same freaking people that you just signed a deal with over Kazakhstan and Ukraine. Hello? They haven't paid you since 1990. I'm like, what are you doing?
That's a great tip too for anybody in the contract worker. If someone's willing to really overpay you for something, you're dealing with criminals, like really bad guys who are never going to pay, as a rule, right? I mean,
yeah, that would be called scammed again. That's what that would be called.
oh, watch out for Bolsharia, the virus that is sweeping the nation, the real pandemic.
Bolsharona.
Bolsharona, excuse me.
Bolsharona, right. So Israel invented the fluorona this week as well. Have you heard about the fluorona?
Right. I did. I heard about that. Yeah, it's
I figured I can do Bolsharona.
Bolsharona is definitely just as deadly, if not.
That is a combination of a virus and loads of bullshit, causing wars everywhere and death.
That's a scientific name for anybody out there, just so you know. It's a real thing.
It's in the Urban Dictionary, I'm sure.
It is.
Look that up. Bolsharona.
Mm-hmm. It's real.
Anyway, I just wanted to point that fact out to the militaries that are listening. It's important you understand the USSR is still the USSR, which is still the Russian Empire, and it's still there. What you have is a bunch of KGB generals. They're called the clans. They were broken up into 5 clans, and most of them very loyal to Rothschild. So even the SSP will tell you that the Russian government is run by Rothschild. Now, the reason why the coup in Kazakhstan and the push away from Russia has nothing to do with the fact they're going to get away from Russia. What it actually has to do with turning over control of the world's largest supply of uranium to China. That's what it has to do with. And everybody's promised a peace. So Kazakhstan has one of the world's largest deposits of uranium. And that's apparently what the Rothschilds, because Rothschild is running China right now. So the Rothschilds have always run China, but that's what they're looking for. Why, I don't know. It's an antiquated fuel source. Hopefully the GPRC will make some decisions and start coming up with real fuel sources that do not harm us, which are out there, which we have. So
yeah, we do have actual solutions for the air too.
We do.
And some of those people are very much in hiding, but they are in our network. So it's pretty exciting as we start. We can actually create a better world if we can just get these guys to stop trying to kill us. That'd be great.
Well, and the negotiations also have to take place. You've got a lot of countries that are very dependent on the sale of fuel, right? Whether it's natural gas or crude oil. We need to have replacement industries for these different things, right?
Sure.
Same thing when we're talking about initiatives like anti-human trafficking globally. You have to take into account the income source. These people that are making billions and trillions of dollars on this industry are not going to go lightly, and they're not nice people, right? So there has to be a whole different industry that is not going to harm our children and our young women and men, where they can perhaps do something different.
It's hard to make peace with people that see you as food and cattle. So
it is. Yeah, it is. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how I do. I'm going to put my negotiating hat on. See how I do.
You are a master negotiator. I mean, people come to destroy us, and you've several times that I know of, you've found a way to derail it and make peace with them. So if anybody can do it.
Yeah, but see, there's this whole common sense factor there.
Oh, those are off planet. Whereas this group here,
it's very rare. It's a rare mineral here. Yeah.
Rare earth mineral is common sense.
Which is completely destroyed by Bolsharona.
Bolsharona, yeah. So avoid getting Bolsharona. Seek after the truth. Yep. Okay.
All right.
That was a
With
great
that being
report.
said, you guys have a lot of work to do this week. I appreciate you coming, and I know it's late where some of you are and very early in other places. So thank you so much for all you do for all of humanity. and let's go change the world this week. I took your line, Tank.
That's okay. I like it. I like it. All right. So everybody out there, obviously this is very much a call to action. We're in that point where we're in the moment where the world changes, and that's always been about you. So this opportunity will never come again, right? So we have to protect, promote, and perform on a level that is equal to the gravity of the moment that we're in. So keep that in mind as you're pressing forward with everything you're doing. So we have to ensure that we avoid making the same mistakes as our predecessors to avoid the cycle of the oppressed becoming the oppressors. So as we lay the foundation for this dynamic, creative collective, you really want to consider that the biggest problem we have right now is all of this ignorance and lack of awareness. So please consider yourself an ambassador for the truth. Represent what life force means to you. If we're not doing what you think we should be doing, you know what? Go out and set a better example that we can follow. And I promise you, we will follow your example. Now, this is the moment where everything changes. And we have to make decisions based on what we want the world to be, not what we're afraid that it was. So this is the chance we get to actually create a brand new world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. And I'm honored to be a part of it. And I'm glad you are too. So like Ms. Goguen just said, let's go change the world.